today's watch review, we're taking a look at the Luminox Scott Cassell Deep Dive, or model number XS1523. So let's get right into it. Price is going to fluctuate greatly depending on where you're looking at. However, I have reliably found these going for around $1,000 to $1,500. For case diameter, we're looking at 45.3 millimeters or 51.2 if we include the crown and the crown guard. Case thickness comes in at 16.7 millimeters with a lug-to-lug of 51.1 millimeters and a lug width of 24 millimeters. For weight, without the aftermarket bracelet and the original polyurethane band, the watch comes in at 166 grams or 5.85 ounces. Now, if you do swap out the band, like I did for a bracelet, you're looking more at 231 grams or 8.14 ounces. And here is how it sits on my 7.5 inch wrist. The deep dive comes with the Sellita SW200-1, which is a very well-known and reputable movement. This movement is an automatic and hacking movement. It also comes with 3 hands, so an hour, minute, and second hand, as well as a day-date window. The accuracy rating is plus or minus 12 seconds per day. It comes with a 38-hour power reserve and also has 28,800 beats per hour. The case is made out of 316L stainless steel, and then of course, as mentioned earlier, the band is a polyurethane strap. On the right hand side, we've got a screw down crown, and we've also got a crown latch, which also seconds as the bezel locking system, and we will go into further detail later on in the review. Coming back to the top, there is a 60-click unidirectional bezel, and that also has a pip with a tritium tube installed. There's no denying the convenience of tritium. There's something very reassuring about having an analog watch that you know without a shadow of a doubt is going to be legible in the dark. There's also no denying the pure cool factor of it. I'm sure most of us were obsessed with fire, light, flashlights, and lightsabers growing up, and tritium tubes fall right into that category. So as you can see, here it is in the dark, and it is absolutely beautiful. I will say that Luminox missed a huge opportunity here by not applying lume to the indices. Could you imagine tritium paired with superluminova? As far as lume goes, that would make this watch unbeatable against its competition. Unfortunately, all we're getting is the tritium tubes, which there's nothing wrong with that, just an observation. The dial is a really good example of harmony between form and function. I think in the capacity of a dive watch / tool watch, it provides the data you need in a clear manner. I really like how they emphasize the minute hand by placing 2 orange tritium tubes on it as to easily show the operator which hand to follow when tracking time. Nothing feels gimmicky here. Adding to all of that, you still have this beautiful dark ocean blue sunburst dial, which allows this watch to almost ride the edge of luxury as well. The use of only black and white for the logo at 12 o'clock also adds a touch of maturity, giving it a more classy appearance rather than the uber tactical look that most other Luminox watches have. I have no issues with the writing on the dial, however, it is interesting that they went with the word professional vice the word diver, as this is an ISO 6425 certified watch. At the very bottom, you will see the proud Swiss-made label, and right next to that is T25, letting the wearer know that the tritium tubes are emitting less than 25 millicuries of radiation. Some useless information that you may or may not care about. According to regulations, U.S. Navy submariners are not authorized to wear gear with tritium tubes while on board submarines, with the exception of naval special warfare teams or dive team members. Why? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm sure it was due to an overabundance of caution. I always prefer 60-click bezels over 120-click bezels, and there's no exception here. Something about 60-click bezels feels more robust and deliberate. It also seems more accurate too, as I know that each click will land on a specific minute. The textured jimping along the edge allow for an excellent grip, and the fact that there's 3.5 millimeters of bezel height allows for really good surface contact, so you can easily turn the bezel from any position. The deep dive has the added function of the bezel locking system. If you look by the 4 o'clock position, you can see that under the surface, the bezel has gear teeth, which allows the crown latch to pop into place, preventing the bezel from rotating. A unidirectional bezel is already designed to protect the diver, so having a locking bezel adds another great level of redundancy. Just like the saying goes, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. You can never be too safe underwater. And once the bezel locking system is in place, that bezel is not moving at all. So they did a very good job executing this safety feature. The crown itself is very good. The threading is tight and the overall presentation is very professional. While you can't see the crown top with the latch closed, it's a nice touch that they added the logo on it anyways. The downside is that the overly aggressive crown guards and latch hinder the hand winding and setting process. Not a big deal, of course, however, sometimes I feel that I'm putting unnecessary strain on the stem trying to remain clear of the latch while simultaneously screwing the crown back in the case. The included polyurethane band is exactly what you would expect if you're familiar with Luminox. If you're not familiar with Luminox, then imagine the smoothness of a G-Shock resin band with the softness of a Seiko silicone band, and that's what you're getting. It's the best of both worlds and very comfortable. You'll get plenty of airflow, and the way it's textured on the underside reduces the surface contact on the skin. I will also make mention of the metal sleeve at the base of the band, which allows for very fluid movement. The deep dive also comes with a separate diver extension strap. The 24mm lug width kind of reduces your options for aftermarket straps, but as you can see, I was able to find a beautiful beads of rice bracelet for it easy enough. You're getting a very robust screw down caseback here. So robust that it's actually twice as thick as industry standard casebacks. So just like with the Crystal, you're also getting a caseback that is double the size, or at least double the thickness. I'm starting to prefer solid casebacks as opposed to display casebacks these days. I feel that it removes the theatrics of the watch and focuses more on the professional business side of things, which I think is appropriate here in the case of the deep dive. The engraving is that of the Scott Cassell's Great White Submarine, as well as your standard boilerplate information. But you can also see the names of 2 nonprofit organizations, as well as Save the Sea, which does give the watch a little personal touch from Mr. Cassell himself. The brushed finish with the polished edges really pair well together. Like I said before, you're getting a tool watch that is riding the edge of luxury. I like knowing that the watch I would wear at a dinner party could most likely also survive the depths of hell too. This is not your typical Luminox, and that is what immediately caught my attention. Number 1, it's an automatic, and while they do have automatics in their lineup, it's more of an exception rather than the rule. Number 2, the case shape looked so cool to me. I could be completely wrong here, but to me, I see a Spider-Man logo in the case shape, and for whatever reason, that was very appealing to me. With a cool case design, steel construction, and an automatic movement, it was a no-brainer that I had to add it to my collection. It's safe to say that I'm mostly pleased with the experience. There's not much I would change here. It was advertised as a big, beefy watch, and what I got was an absolutely fantastic, quality, big, beefy watch. Now, if I had to change something though, I guess it would be to add lume to the indices and also change the bezel insert dimensions. Talking about the lume on the indices paired with the tritium tubes just seems like such an obvious choice to me. So I have no idea why they didn't do that. I guess you can't ever give the customers too much or else they won't come back for more. I mentioned the bezel insert dimensions because they are pretty much unique in the entire watch modding market. So unless you custom make a bezel insert, you're SOL. It's a very nitpicky thing to bring up, but I can't just review a watch and not say something critical about it. I do recommend it if it's a watch that you specifically want though, because there's nothing really comparable out there in the market to it. Perhaps in specifications and the movements and all that stuff, but not in the design. It's definitely overpriced. Of course it's overpriced, it's a Luminox. But for us watch people, we were never very practical anyways, so, damn the price. Also, I'm not trying to create a sense of panic, but I'm pretty sure this watch is no longer in production, so whatever inventory is out there is it. So if it's something you want, then find the best deal you can and lock in the purchase. But that pretty much wraps up my thoughts, and I hope I was able to give you some insight to this surprisingly unpopular Luminox. I also hope that this video will help you with your next watch purchase, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Alright, bye.